end up landing itself in the future,
Right.
where like what people will do for clout, and imagine like ain't nothing but progression is going to come from like the whole IRL streaming, which is in real life streaming, in which people that are seeking validation and attention will kind of do anything.
Anything, yeah.
And then there's like this interesting little like balance between the people that are willing to pay to see people do anything and
How much it'll take to do
anything,
anything.
or the like
Yeah,
it's such an
no, that's
interesting little
crazy.
Like,
space
what's your
in which
dignity worth?
we're getting to a spot where that is what the future is kind of holding.
But before we get, too deep into it, let me do the intro. Welcome back to the 2B Fair Show. I am your host, Johnny P.
Oh, here, real.
It's Q.
And we back.
Yes, sir.
We got a few, we better get into one. We got a few interesting topics, lined up, queued up, so to say.
For me this week, I guess I'm gonna ask y'all, and I'm gonna probably toss it to one of y'all first. I'd rather kind of tuck my answer on the back, and I know we kind of go through a spew first. And so my question is gonna be, what are the three initial things that attracts you to a woman,
I
Johnny?
mean, yeah, initially. I ain't
Go ahead.
I ain't gonna
Ass it, please. Ass it, please.
say.
Y'all remember Hot Damn IROC?
That's what I was gonna say. Like I was gonna hit him with something
Johnny, you
super,
want me to save you for a second,
super.
bro?
Nah. I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. I mean, initially, like like an intelligent woman
Mm,
or an informed. It ain't necessarily got to be like super intelligent, but you gotta be like a well read or have like general knowledge of the
mm,
world. Be like a understanding. Have like information. Like I don't know if intelligence is the word, but somebody that's informed.
mm.
Somebody that's informed about what's going on, in the world. Uh,
That's one.
I do like a person who has I like an empath. Somebody who can understand,
Mm,
feelings and stuff. That way, when I'm like somebody that I ain't necessarily gotta specifically say I'm feeling this way. She understands emotion,
you want a mind
emotionally
reader.
intelligent, woman. And the third thing is, I mean, it gotta be that, initial attraction, that chemistry. Definitely gotta be there. We gotta want to see each other, want to do it.
So let me ask you this: you said initial attraction, and then you said chemistry. For you, those are like kind of one and the same.
Well, no, initial attraction. She gotta look good. I
And
mean
what
that.
does that what does that mean to you? You use it as one of your things. So that's why I feel like you should at
No,
least
I mean,
tell
give
us
me
what
a
that
second,
means.
bro. I just gotta
Oh
ask
yeah,
the
yeah. No,
question.
I'm just
Like, give me
saying.
a
I'm
second.
gonna give you. I'm
Give
just
me a
saying.
second. I just
I'm just
gotta
trying
ask
to.
the
All
question.
right, got you,
I
got you.
gave you my first two. You cool with the first two. The third one. I mean, I
Cause that's
like I like a natural woman too. I
okay,
gotta be
natural.
attracted to your natural state. Not attracted to you in your makeup or suit. Like I gotta be attracted to you how you wake up.
Mm,
So yeah, I go with them.
One, everybody's lying if you don't say physical attraction. So I like physical attraction, but it's not something that you lead with.
That's
That
why that's why it was my last.
it's
That was my third.
like I think that again, like a woman that is attractive inside all the manners in which I enjoy her to be attractive. But again, like that's not like the biggest. Well, not even really a piece of the personality. But again, like that, like you're not conceited within that. You're not like that's not something that you just hang your hat on.
mm.
It's just a blessing that you are beautiful.
No,
Um,
yeah, it can't be part of your personality. I get that.
yeah, I think that I do pay attention to your relationship with your friends. I think that that is really really important. Again, I do like women that within their peer group, their friend groups, they are inside like some level of a leadership space. That is kind of like one of those things that I do kind of pay attention to because of, yeah, I'm just not really interested in the woman that's a follower and is going to be easily led by like her group and like what her homegirl said X, Y, and Z. Um, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. I do enjoy like a strong minded person because of again, I know that I have a really strong personality, and at times I also need to be kind of like corrected and redirected at times, and I have to be able to trust in my partner to actually be able to do that as well. And understand that like you're just not specifically a pushover because I'm wrong too. And I think that that's a really, really, really big piece of the pie. And I think that when it comes down to like when we sit and have real
Hold on, but
conversations,
that's three, right?
I only gave two.
Oh, okay. I wanted to
I
make
just
sure.
talked about the friend group just now.
Okay, got
Is
you.
that okay?
No, it's fine. I
No,
want to make sure because
nah, I was just
you a
making sure.
bail.
Yeah, nah,
You a
yeah,
bail. I just want to make sure we
yeah,
go
nah.
through
Okay,
three.
we on two. We on two.
Right. But not my last one would be your ability to reason. And I think that when you're speaking inside those initial conversations, that's something that I pay attention to heavily. Um, and you can just tell a lot about a person with their ability to reason.
That's
And
it.
like when you present new ideas or how you got to an idea or um, when you challenge an idea, and what do you do with new information? Like I don't care if like we agree or disagree or like I can like change your mind or you can change my mind, but like do you like are you actually making realistic logical like observations of how and what you feel? And like that's another one of those big things for me. Because yeah, you got to stay away from the irrationals.
Nah, I feel it. Hey, before you answer, can I
You
expound
you
on
want
like
to
my third?
amend?
Yeah, look
Yeah,
at it.
You want to
I want
amend?
to man. Like when I was talking about
I
like
put fire to coal. He got it. All right,
no,
go ahead.
no, I just thought of something. I just thought of something. When I was talking about like that initial, that
Attraction.
initial attraction, I'm be specific. I got three more like initial.
Go
I
add
got
three.
three.
We
Yeah.
just gotta make sure that
I
we
ain't
hit
say
it,
one.
and then you
I
gonna
only
go.
did
You
three
said you
though.
want to give three
Play
more
with me.
on
I'm
your
breaking down. I'm
third.
breaking down my third answer. Just let me
Go ahead, you
let me
got
go.
it,
Let
bro.
me
I ain't
go.
gonna
Let me go. I like a short woman because I'm not a tall guy, so I do like a short
height
woman.
challenged.
I like
5'1".
I like dark skin. I
Mm-hmm.
like that chocolate.
Yeah.
And here's one. And here's the one.
The one, the
It ain't the one, but it get me every
He a
time.
wild. Never mind.
Not that New York accent, bro. I like a
Oh boy.
oh
I
Lord.
like a shorty with a New York accent.
Hey, what's that
That,
rap? What's that
that
I
rapper
nigga
like
lady?
that
sound
New
like he
York
Y'all
about
New
accent,
to.
York. What's
bro.
that rapper lady that say?
It
Yeah.
get me, bro. Every time I hear, I be like,
Do
Get
she
the
be
fuck
cussing
out
when
New
you
York.
hear?
it be like, it be something about the.
Do she be cursing when you hear her accent? Normally,
It ain't even gotta be the cursing. It ain't even about the words. It's just
I
about the
think,
tone.
I think,
Hey, shout out my boy.
hey, them New York women be ready
Yo,
to
what Newman
go.
is saying is that he can't wait for a woman to tell him to suck her dick.
Hey, hey,
That's
bro,
what
don't let them
it
do
is.
you like that, dude. Don't let them do you
Like,
like that.
hey,
Yeah, you a
Yeah,
wild boy.
it ain't about the word. I'm saying it's that tone. It's that I don't know. I can't
yeah,
do it. I'm a Southern boy, but being a Southern guy, some people
yeah.
say I sound country, but that New York accent, it's just I like a New York
It
accent.
sound like an
Boy,
L to
that was a
me.
good one. I ain't expect
I
So
was
that.
being
again,
I just
I would say translating for Johnny.
you ain't gotta translate. I
Johnny
said what I said.
Johnny said that I am
I
a
said
submissive and I am looking for a dominant woman.
nah,
Uh,
nah,
But hey,
nah.
it ain't too many of them that you done met that was like on the different type time.
But they just talk crazy. They don't mean
You
they
know
not
what?
submissive. Them they said they
Alright.
just talk
But
crazy.
how you
you
submitting
lay the
if you
law
talking
down.
to me
Tell
crazy though?
I like laying the law down on somebody that's feisty. It's just
Oh,
like I
okay.
like it.
Oh, I feel it. I
Like
mean,
I
Hey,
mean
y'all gonna have the women come stomping y'all with them
it's
Timberland boots
something
try to
about
talk
that
about them New
motherfucker.
York women.
Yeah, and then you come down and
I'm cool.
lay the law, and I like that. It's just me.
But what if a left hook
I'm just
me?
being specific about me.
No. I mean,
So
hey,
you like upstate or like from the city?
I like that BX.
Tim's or no
yeah, he
Tim's.
So
trying to
again,
impress.
Johnny said that he is into BDSM play.
Man, nah, don't put
He
that
is
on. Nah, do not put that on me. I ain't saying nothing. I just say I like an
he
accent.
is trying to be
I
dominated.
like an accent.
Yeah,
Obviously.
Hey, Tim's or no
Bro,
Tim.
let's
Hey,
get to
Tim's or
you.
no Tim,
sheesh,
Johnny. I just want to know Tim's or no Tim's, man.
Tim's.
Oh yeah, I mean she gonna be Tim's, bro.
He he wanted with the bubble with
With the
the bubble
bubble, with the
baby
fat.
fat jacket.
Bro, there ain't no corner, bro. Like
it's just what he
I
like.
seen
That's what
Ice
he like.
Ain't
Spice
nothing
out
wrong
there
with
with the
liking what you
ass
like, bro.
and the Tim boots and the bubble jacket. Like, yo, she
I'm
Yeah,
shut out.
bro.
Nah, they got a soda and a slice.
Pop.
Jordan Poole got a whole Lambo. I ain't
Oh, yeah, it's a pop.
little pop. But yeah, I like that. I ain't,
Yeah, nah. And I guess for me, and mine's are much more simplistic because I was more when I say like initial, I was being more initial. You know what I mean? So like for me, what I was thinking of is like I like a woman that likes to smile, like that smiles a lot. I like a woman that likes to smile. Where you know what I mean? It's something because it's something about that makes you much more like how I want to say this.
approachable.
It's approachability. It's like kind heartedness comes behind like a smile. A person that just likes a person that likes to smile. To where it's like, and I've actually seen quite a few women since we start talking about it. I don't know if if like the Kevin Samuels and all that stuff has gotten to some of theirs, and that's why I'm starting to see it, or did I not pay attention to it prior to? But yeah, just a woman that likes to smile. I think that kind of deals with like a kind-hearted person, a person that seems a little bit more forgiving. Is a person that likes to smile. It's inviting. It's inviting. So that's one a thing that I like. And then I'd say my second one is going to be I'm attracted to, or I've become attracted to spirituality. So, and I'm not talking about just like this whole 2013 woke spirituality
About to
with
get him a house of
with
prayer
the
woman,
energy and all of this. And
7 Day Adventist.
hey, if she the
Seven
church house, I
chakras.
ain't mad at the church house. I know
Chakras,
I had
bro.
made we had talked about the black church about
Uh-oh.
two different times in here. My thing is I'm not against that. I'm
You
not
going
against
there every
that. There's a
Sunday?
huh?
You every Sunday, bull?
No, I mean at the end of the day, I would like to get to a point to where I consistently go.
Are you against a
So you
religious
said,
woman? Would you be against a superly
No, see the thing is,
religious?
religious means that actually that indicates something differently than spirituality, and that's why I said specifically spiritual, because
so
religion
you
is
ain't got to
based
go
in
every Sunday. When you
ritualistic
spiritual, you
things
ain't
and all
really
of
got
that.
to
Okay, yeah,
Three,
whatever
four
all that.
times a year. That's
But yeah,
spirituality.
but yeah, like I said, it's definitely not like the woke John, like that. The woke always talking about energy and all that stuff because that's a turn off for me. But and then my third one, I guess this one's probably gonna be a little bit tougher. My third one
Go ahead and say it, bro.
would probably be it would be being a conversationalist because I enjoy conversation. I enjoy it. Not even we can be on separate sides as long as you're like to me. A conversationalist doesn't mean a conversation doesn't turn into an argument with a conversationalist because that person knows how to provide an opinion and provide reasoning that we can actually just sit and dialogue about. So
And
that
that's
would be my third one, a conversationalist. That
and
would
that's
be fire.
like I said. It's also not somebody who just talk too much.
Yeah, no,
Just but
no.
like have good.
There's a time for this to happen.
Cause
You
some
don't
people
just be
talkative. Yeah,
not
that's
talkative. It's not that's not what I'm saying. Conversationalist and talkative is different. Yeah, I don't want to hear you just
yeah, just
bumping your gums all the damn time.
yeah,
I was in the military. My sergeant used to say, "Quit bumping your gums." That used to be hilarious to me. But anyway, um, yeah. So like, yeah, conversationalist, spirituality, and a woman that likes to smile.
So I'll throw this one to kind of piggyback off of your question.
Okay.
Um, what is something that you are willing to concede for the right woman?
Willing to concede. It's a great
I was gonna
question.
say that New York accent.
Nah, that's too easy, bro.
No,
Get the
no,
fuck out of here.
no. He trying to climb out of a box
Yeah,
now.
get
He
the
trying
fuck
to
out of
climb
here,
out of
bro.
a box. No, hell no. We ain't going. That ain't gonna work. Something I'm willing to
So
concede. You can go ahead. Yeah.
I'll start off. So I think that something that I am willing to concede is I am willing to concede at a level things that I might not really be interested in and finding interest in it because of that's something that I probably am going to require of her as well.
Mm.
Um,
It's what
so
specifically?
like you have to take up or seem or be somewhat interested in certain things that she likes.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the reality is
Oh,
that as a
okay.
partner, you actually want her to do the exact same thing.
I
For
thought you
sure.
meant concede out for like our three, the list that we
No,
just.
no, no, no,
Oh,
no, no.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
just
I'm
in
just talking about
general.
like just in general.
Oh, so we
okay,
beyond initial attraction now?
Yeah.
okay,
We
Okay.
digging
okay,
deeper.
okay.
Just
That
trying to
make
dig a
okay.
little
That makes
deeper.
sense.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm
nah.
saying?
I can
That's a
And
handle
Tony,
good
you ain't gonna
question.
escape. We gonna throw both of them to you. But
That's-
yeah. For me that like that's definitely something that I've because of I know I'm really, really active. I do a lot of things. Like for a woman, like you got to deal with me talking a bunch. You got to deal with me like being outside like from 6 to 8 or 9 almost every single day. You got to deal with me like being like going up and down the road on the weekends and shit for basketball and shit. In which I then have to be like, nah, I got to concede some shit that you like to make this partnership actually make sense. And where it's not like me taking a bunch and I'm actually giving as well. Um, Fellas?
Now I was gonna say sometimes I mean it just happens, but sometimes you gotta concede like if you consider yourself a really emotionally intelligent person, sometimes you're not always gonna get a match or somebody who is as emotionally intelligent or even like I can say like sometimes it's like with
Don't
like
generalize. Talk specifically
I'm
for
not
you.
gonna say like specifically for me. Sometimes like attitude, sometimes a
Oh,
woman that have like an attitude, and I'll take it personally and be
Mm.
like, "Man, why she always talking to me like that?" Not like knowing that she's out here dealing with like the world
And that's because she's
and
from New York too.
the world.
well, you
Hey,
just digging into the big submissive bag.
Yeah.
Don't let me fuck. Look, listen. Don't
hey,
let me
hey,
steer you.
Go
We
ahead,
just
go ahead,
fucking
bro.
with you,
I'm
bro.
not. Hey, you not fuck. I
But it's
mean,
also okay if
it's
you a cub.
hilarious. Like it's funny. I'm not. I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered at
Not
all.
bothered.
Like it's funny.
Tell
Like
them
I
that's your
get it.
king.
Like bro, you hilarious. Like I see he's trying it. He is trying it.
Talk about that's your kid.
He ain't gonna get me though.
They say you
He
like
ain't he
handcuffs.
ain't gonna get me.
Man.
Behind his back, hog tied.
Right.
Wow, boy. My bad.
Oh,
Nah,
buddy.
I'm joking.
Nah,
I,
hey,
I crossed the
hey,
line.
Yeah,
hey,
that was too far.
All
look.
right,
That's
bro.
Hey,
I
look,
good.
crossed the
I'll
line.
cut all this shit off.
Right now.
I'll cut all this shit off.
Listen, I had to find out what the line was.
That
Nah,
I
was the
found
lie
it.
bro,
right
bro,
That was
bro, bro, it's crazy, bro. Like, bro, is out his
there.
fucking mind. I don't even know where I was going. Like,
He done threw
I
you
had
all the
to
way off.
stand up and defend the front line. Like what?
all right. Cool,
But
cool.
nah,
I just
no,
had to make sure.
nah. Hey, y'all, don't
Hey,
listen.
listen.
Don't
I pray for all my homeboys.
and see.
Stay away from that.
This is why bro about to get canceled last week. He don't know when to
Yeah, he
stop, bro.
was.
He
He
don't know when
was.
to stop, bro. He go too far. But I
But
was
if that's what you like, again,
Hey, if
like
that's what
to each his
people,
own.
hey, if
But
that's what people like, that's not what I like. That's not what
if
Johnny
you a
P like.
wild boy,
But all I'm
it's to
saying is
each.
sometimes like you can't take people's attitude personally
Hmm.
towards you. Like, I'm being serious. Like, bro, joking.
All right, again, I'm joking.
And
Johnny don't like.
I hold on, what? Like what?
Come on, bro. Come on, bro.
Well, I just said it. I made sure he understood it.
My
Wait, what I
fault.
do? What I do this time?
Look, I got your
What I do
ass, bro.
this time? My bad.
I got your ass. Like, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how else do I like?
We got jokes. It's
I
cool.
wanted to make sure
I can
I said it
I
explicit.
can joke too.
I said you don't.
I
I
can
said,
joke too. Bro, that's never been on the
nah.
table, bro. Like, but I ain't got it.
That's what
Like,
I'm
I ain't
saying.
got like, bro.
I, I agree with you, dog.
See, this is why I didn't want this to be a relationship podcast. Like, this is why I didn't even like go there because motherfuckers can't even be honest and truthful
All right. So Johnny, all right, Johnny,
without the. Chill out, Keith.
John.
Hey, happy birthday, bro. But chill out. Like, happy
So
birthday,
listen
but chill out.
again.
No, they don't listen to you enough. Let me finish mine, and then if
Okay.
you
Yeah.
want to tell the people what you like, that's cool. But I'm telling them,
I was going to
what I
backpedal some.
like, bro. And like I say, or what I'm
You a
willing.
wild Gouchie boy. There you go. Look at him.
Man,
There
so
you go.
I ain't never been to the Gucci store, bro. But like, how do we end up here? Like,
Hey, that's this man.
I'm tapping out.
This
I ain't even
man,
gonna
bro.
tell y'all about emotional intelligence and all of that.
Yeah, see, he
All
done,
right,
he done,
but
he done throw
Go,
off the whole
so this is what I would
conversation.
say
we
to
ain't even
actually
gonna get to
like
that.
give Johnny some of his flowers. I think that in season one we had the submissive conversation.
Mm.
And this is like broadening it out a little bit more, but we did have that conversation. Now I do think that something that at that time I probably wasn't like used to hearing, but I think that is really, really important inside relationships is the fact that like there is mutual submission. Same
Mm.
way like
I said that. I
same.
said that.
You see, I'm bigging you up right now. But no, I think like so. For example, if I'm about to go out somewhere, or whatever my game plan for the day is, I'm gonna go in and be like, hey, Taj, I'm about to do this, and that. And the same thing I expect from her, right? But there's also the space of like different things that you're great at, and being able to submit when you understand that this is not my area of expertise, and there's a bunch of different things that I'm really good at, but having the humility to be able to be like, this ain't really my strong point, and I can lean on somebody else, and that's kind of like the whole idea of a partnership is the ability to lean on somebody else.
I'm done. I'm done. Like, I'm done. Like,
Yeah, nah, I was actually putting like some like I was putting a better bow on like even if you decided to
no,
take
no,
some
no,
different.
no, 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 no. I'm cutting that off right there.
What?
No, that's
I
not. Ain't no even if. Ain't no.
I
Not.
just said
Actually, I think it's.
I
I think it's Tone's turn. He ain't.
uh-oh.
Hey, I wasn't even on this question. Don't try to put it over
He
here to
was.
me.
He ain't answered. We ain't heard your three yet either though.
So I want to ask. So what do you think the title of this episode should be? Should it be "Wild Submissive Bull," or should it be,
Bro.
or should it be "Wild Like Women from New York"? I don't know. What you think, bro?
No, the Gooch one was funny as hell to me.
Oh.
The Gooch,
Gouchie
wow,
stove.
Gooch boy, that was hilarious. That was hilarious. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Mm.
either way, I mean, I'm not
Oh,
going.
we go.
I don't have.
I actually fuck with that one.
Mm,
We not, but
All right, Big Tone.
like we not,
Oh,
but
dang.
Big Tone, what's up?
Shit, if we talking about
Green flag first.
three initial things I look for.
You got a tone cam
I
too.
go there. Yeah, we do got a tone
you
cam.
go to Tone Cam.
Let me cut that on. I'm on cam now. Matter of fact, I'm going to Lil
still
Cam.
ugly.
Yeah, your mama. Dog.
He didn't even say your mom. He meant
See,
that.
and
He
then
said
my
your
thing
mama.
is,
it's a habit for me. I just say that like
I
the
actually
first
like
yeah,
thing.
that. That's smart, Tone.
yeah, okay, don't worry about it. I'm gonna get mine's back.
Hey, you done got yours at the beginning,
I'm gonna
bro.
get mine's
The doggone
thoroughly.
bro done called me to all type of
Don't
shit today.
worry
God
about
dang.
it. Go ahead. Yo, green flags.
My initial attraction. Um, I will say there's a certain thing of looks, but it's more so, and y'all might laugh because Jeff just said something about this the other week, but vibes, man, that's one of the things for
Man,
me.
shut the fuck up, man.
Yeah.
You said five.
Already, bro.
I was about to explain it too,
Already,
but hey,
bro.
you can cut me off before you even get there.
Hey,
What? No, bro. Listen.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is literally doggone gonna
Listen.
cut me off before I explain it.
I've been with the vibe for like
he
before.
said,
What that
shut the
means is
fuck up.
basically when you meet
Why you
somebody
so
that you
loud,
like,
bro?
It's called chemistry. I
are you
said,
gonna let me talk or you
Use
want to
your
get on the
inside
camera?
voice. Use your inside voice, bro.
Bro. I'm
hey
listening.
man, go to
bro.
camera
What
one
I'm
and say,
what I'm
Listen,
talking about.
I'm really an old reformed like I love woke women nigga. So I'm
Nah, but when I go
connected.
to where I'm
I
about to
just
go
came
with, you
back
gonna
from
know
the
what I'm
Erica
talking
Badu
about.
show. I seen all the jumps that. Go ahead, Tom.
So when y'all meet somebody that like you, you don't feel an initial chemistry. You
Say it
don't
again.
feel when you meet somebody that like you and you
hey,
feeling them and they
chemistry is
like you.
important.
Y'all don't feel that.
I've always,
Yeah,
hey
That's
for
Tone,
what I'm
sure.
talking about.
Tone, I agree with you. I've always said chemistry is
Yeah,
important.
that's
Yeah.
I
why I'm
even
like.
mentioned it in
That's
my
why I'm like
answer.
one of the things why
Chemistry
I
is
said
important.
vibes is because one of the things I look for if I'm into a woman, I look to see if she's into me too. So that's one of the things that makes me into it, like the vibes. Like, I'm into
No,
her. Is she
that's
My
feeling
thing
me?
is that
Keith,
we can
it's
say
because it's the
a
to be
level of
fair show.
mutual attraction, and we don't
Bro,
have to
is
use
this you?
vibes,
Is
bro.
this your three or my three?
But it's the word, bro. It's the word, bro. Let's leave that woke fucking vibe
Just say
talk.
chemistry. Don't say vibes. Just say
Exactly,
chemistry.
exactly,
I'm
bro.
gonna say what I want.
Oh yeah, he told your ass.
I ain't mad about it.
Real.
His mom loves me.
I explained what I meant. So
Go
I'm gonna
ahead.
say what I want, and however anybody want to take
All
it. I
right, go
mean,
ahead,
they
nigga.
can
Number
change my
two.
words. Okay,
Oh, soft ass nigga.
nah, dog. On number two, I want her to be attractive, of course, like or attractive to me. I like the different type of woman. It's not. I'm not gonna say my standard of attraction is the same as every man, but yeah, I like her to be attractive to me. And three, intelligent, good conversation. And I don't mean like just book smart. Like I don't care about your book smarts. You
Nice.
sitting there trying to tell me how many degrees you got or anything like that. Do you have common sense? Like, can we hold a conversation on a regular day basis? Can I hold a conversation with you without thinking that, or without you trying to take something out of it that I didn't say? Like, I think that's one of the key things. Like, if you can have a good conversation, and that's my three.
Nah, I fuck with it. Nah, I definitely think.
I don't fuck with it.
Shit. Yeah. What do you fuck with then, Rev?
Um,
Go ahead.
Tone's mom is number one. Love her. She's my number one draft pick.
He had to get what it is. Right?
Number one draft pick. Nah, but for real, nah. Like to me, I already gave mine. Think that a woman that smiles is very in that initial.
Nah.
On that initial, yeah.
So what are
nah.
you willing to concede?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, that's the other
concede.
part.
What I'm willing to concede. Well, I believe, like, honestly, whatever you're strong in, whatever you're strong in, like, to me, that's literally whatever you're strong in. Well, I mean, I can't say whatever you're strong in because that may not
Gotta
be
take
complete
my
truth.
Yeah, what if she's strong in fighting?
This nigga,
If
you
she's
gotta
strong
give a
in
different
fighting,
one. I took
yeah.
that answer already.
Hey, I had a question posed to me. Did y'all hear about the trans boy?
Oh, avoid me.
No. I'm going with what he just said. See, it's called
what'd
You
he
Ain't
say?
Paying Attention. He just said, "What if her strong suit
Wait,
is fighting?"
Johnny talking about trans too?
He said, "What if her
Bro,
strong?"
man,
strong
what's your, bro, what's your?
Yo, what
I
is
don't know
he?
what my boy be going, bro.
Wait. What happened?
He said, "What if her strong suit is fighting?"
What's that got to do with trans?
I was just
I
about to.
don't know.
What
You're
I
the
was
one
about
that
to
No,
brought
he
up
say.
said
trans.
trans. I didn't
No,
say
I would.
trans.
Johnny P never said trans.
I didn't
No,
say first.
I
He
did
said
say it.
trans.
I
Never
did
said
say
trans.
it. I
Only
did
Yeah,
say
trans.
it.
I put
Only
that
What I
in.
was gonna
hey, look,
say.
I sell cars. Only trans I know about is transmission.
Transmissions.
That's the only
Yeah.
trans I know about is transmission.
Bro, listen, I didn't put that on you. He said
No,
trans
I did.
first.
I did. What I was
Nobody
gonna
said
say.
trans.
He
So,
just said he said it.
a girl I was talking to,
Well, she
not
was a
talking to
tranny.
like in depth, but she was saying that like this nigga. What she was saying was that there was a trans what do you call a trans girl? That mean he was a boy, right?
Person,
Trans boy, that mean he was a girl at first.
I'm gonna get canceled if I say
I'm
that.
just trying to
I'm gonna get
understand the
canceled. I'm
shit.
gonna
Either
stop.
way, it was a boy that
It was a they.
it was a whatever you want to call it, but he had a
Them.
sack.
It was a them.
He had a sack, and he
They
was in
them.
school.
What's the singular?
But this is the reason why this goes into my
Did she have a
understanding,
sack or did he have a
bro.
sack?
However you want to
What's
define
the
it,
singular of they?
what I'm gonna say is that person had a sack, and a girl pulled down the pants of the person with the sack, and
It wasn't there no more.
he oiled her up.
What?
Oiled her up.
What? Hey, time out.
Oh Lord,
Everything's second
damn,
turn today. I don't know what
damn.
happened.
I don't know
That
what
ain't
just
what I
happened in
mean.
this story.
He whooped her.
Yeah, that
He
was
whooped
crazy.
her. He whooped the girl. He whooped her. And they were trying to figure out whether it was a what the fuck.
I don't,
Hey,
I don't
never mind.
understand.
Fuck the whole conversation. We
I-
should go-
I-
fuck it.
Let's just get
Let's
back
move
to what
on.
you what are you willing to concede?
Concede. Yeah, let's just do
How
that.
do we go there?
Let's just go to concede. Yeah. That was just that was all over the place.
Hey,
Good.
yeah,
Well,
hey. It
Sheesh.
might be time. It might.
Stop it.
Hey,
Whoa.
fellas, it might be
Let's run it
time to
back,
find
bro.
a runway.
Yeah.
It might be time to find a
yeah, let
runway.
him concede. Let him concede real
What
quick.
I
That
would be
was
willing to
crazy.
concede. That was Shea.
What was all right? Go ahead.
That was Shea. What would I be willing to concede? That's not something that someone has already answered. I'd be. Well, I mean, because I'm more of a traditional dude anyway. So like all of the house shit, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm conceding anything because this is
Would
something
you
that I would
would you
overall.
concede a woman working then? And
Absolutely, I want a woman to work.
That's not conceding then, because that's
That's
what he
not
wants.
conceding. That's what I'm saying. I don't look at that as conceding. No, it's like
Okay. How
conceding
about
just
this? Would you concede a woman if your woman wanted to work?
Yeah,
This thing.
same thing. That's what he just said.
No, I think he was talking about a woman not wanting to work.
No, he said a woman working.
Oh, what about her not wanting to work?
Well, no, I probably wouldn't concede to that.
He's already a traditional man.
I wouldn't concede to that. Honestly, I grew into traditional based in my situation, so it wasn't like something that I was like always wanted.
Oh, if she, I don't know what to say right now, but
I'm not a stay-at-home husband.
So you wouldn't concede.
I wouldn't concede being a stay-at-home husband. I'm not. That's not who I am.
What if she brought like $3 million a year?
Oh, I mean, hey, if Oprah, now we talking about different type of shit. No, I'm just playing. No, I still would want to. I still gonna do my own
Something
thing.
you'd be with Oprah and you still be
No, I
going to
wouldn't be
work.
with Oprah, bro.
You say what?
I wouldn't be with Oprah.
Accent. Say it again.
I'm saying if you were with Oprah,
If I were,
you would still go to work every day.
if I was with, yeah, I'd be trying to build my own shit for sure.
That's crazy. I'll get with Oprah. If I get with Oprah, I'm
bro.
chilling.
Bro. I
chilling.
naturally want to lead,
Oprah?
bro. That's just me. I naturally want to
What?
lead.
Why am I going to this little dumbass job? Cause I need to be here to help support
Exactly.
you.
Why would you be working a dumbass job if you was married to Oprah?
Home, do push-ups and lay wood.
Lake Wood.
That's it.
I mean,
Lake
you definitely
Wood.
got to lay ply. That just,
You
you know what I
got
mean?
to.
Ply is
I'm saying,
definitely
hey, it's hard.
absolute.
It's harder to do that working
No,
for.
no.
I'm
The
just
thing
saying.
is, but I
I'm
mean,
just saying. I'm just
if she
saying,
got
bro.
all of the bread,
I'm
then
just
you know what I mean.
saying.
You can't just be
Hey,
working all the time. You got to
hey,
take your time and make
hey.
sure you drink a lot of water, and you know what I mean. They got
You
some
gotta
different.
stay
You got to
hydrated.
change your diet to
Hey,
make sure that
hey,
you're.
hey, 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 hey. It's hard to stay hydrated working 45 a week out there and what it 95 a day?
Yeah, why would you be
Yeah,
working outside?
95 a day.
If you got Oprah, if you shouldn't be working outside,
Man,
bro.
I'm just saying I'm gonna go ahead and land the plane right there. We'll put a pin in it. So yeah, my question, idea, topic of the week is gonna be how much of life is what happens to you versus how you react to it.
Mm,
And it's something I grapple with.
mm,
Like I said, a lot of the questions I have, I don't have answers to. I don't have
mm,
I can't sit here and I think it's 80% what happens to you and
mm,
20% how you react. I ain't got that answer, but it's something that like I always when I'm looking at my life, when I'm looking at my friends' life, when I'm looking at like the people around me and how we all ended up where we ended up at, I can understand.
mm,
It's like there's certain things like when certain people took them turn. Like, I can understand how you ended up there.
yeah,
I can also understand how a motherfucker the same thing happened to them and they ended up in a
absolutely.
totally different spot. I can understand that, and all
Mm-hmm.
that is how you reacted to it. There's shit that happened to all of us.
Facts.
Certain things in life, all like death, sadness. That's gonna happen to all of us. You can't escape it. There's some people that react positively. There's some people that react neutral. There's some people that react negatively. So
Mm-hmm.
I and I think it's more what how you react to it, honestly, because a lot of the things where somebody might crash out, that's something that's gonna happen to all of us, and it's just how they reacted. And initially, that's how I think. I think it's 90% how you react
Mm-hmm.
to whatever happens in your life, and 10%, yeah, it's certain shit that happen. Yeah, you can't come back from it, but the most 90% of what happens to you, I think it's a way to come back if your mindset's straight. But that's my initial thought. I don't know if it's right. I don't know if people feel differently, but that's something I've always wanted to at least broach on this, on the podcast and see.
I guess without I'll start off. I think that I do air quotes to you. I think that
Mm-hmm.
how you react is probably like the biggest thing. And this goes like to like one of my overarching things is that like I think life is built and filled with adversity.
Facts.
And what you do with said thing is probably like the most important thing because of no matter the income level, your socioeconomic status, XYZ, you're going to deal with adversity.
Mm-hmm.
And that same adversity, you can look at people inside the exact same household and how they perceive adversity or like issues or like the new word trauma, different things like that. And sometimes you can build with it, or you can succumb to it. But at the same time, like the same stimuli is the same stimuli, and what you took from it is going to be, and how you react to it is going to be like, and how you react to it is going to be like the main thing,
Mm-hmm.
in my personal opinion. Um, yeah, I think that like we'll dive into the weeds of the conversations in a second, but that's where I'll probably stand at.
Yeah, nah, and for sure, I think that to me that's an easy question because, like you say, we all go, and not easy to say that like to
Well,
downplay the question. It's a
no,
great
no,
question.
I can switch it.
Well, no, it's a great question because we to converse about it and to kind of unpack it.
It's
Um,
agreeable question.
it's something
Yeah,
that we all kind of agree on
yeah.
because of at some point we all understand that we face very similar things. Some may be different, but just let's say, well,
Like adversity. That's
yeah,
something
adversity. So,
everybody's.
and there's levels to adversity. So I can understand, like you say, you can see why a person is in a specific scenario. Generally, we are products of our decisions. Not in that, I mean, that's literally what it is. Like if you ask somebody to tell their story, and you make sure that they don't leave out the part that what their reaction is, 9 times out of 10, you can understand exactly how it got to that place.
Mm-hmm.
And and so it's definitely much more your reaction to a circumstance or a situation versus it happening to you. And I think that we really have to. It's a level of accountability, as we always talk about on this podcast. You can literally consider yourself the victim of the situation, or you can look at it as this situation made me evolve my mindset to
It
this.
made me stronger.
It made me stronger. It gave me a reason to push.
And I guess that's where I would, if okay. So the initial response, I guess we all are on board with how initially I might have framed it wrong, but like we all know it, like your reaction, is important. But I guess on those things that you can't control, and it's like those people that I understand how they got there. It kind of go to like, how do you save the people,
Yeah, for their
who ain't on the
circumstance.
same. It's like, I understand how you got there, but how do I live with you being there, or how do I either work within, like, all right, that happened to you. It happened to a certain number of these people, and that's just what happened to you.
Right.
And I guess that's the part where I don't know when to leave, like, let go, or like, it's like I done told like all these things, I done gone over this, and you just still don't see
Can't
it the
help them.
way I see it, and it's like, is that them, or is that how they reacting to?
One thing, and it's crazy you asked this question because I had something go on just yesterday. That was a thing. I had somebody that I knew for a good part of my life. Someone that I would have considered a brother that was actually family to me. He wasn't my brother, but we had to
He
dwell
knew
in the
he
same
knew the
place for a
family, all
while.
of that shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I saw him, and he was he was walking down the street in the hood, and I saw him, and I could see the defeat in his face. And I was riding with my pops at the time with old head. I was riding with him, and he generally doesn't talk well about, like, what I mean. He's
Oh,
just, oh
buddy,
yeah,
like specifically, oh, buddy, or
not even just specifically old
just the
buddy, just the
situation.
situation. Yeah, he don't really talk highly of, like, or he has a lack of empathy in those scenarios.
Right.
And so I went past and I didn't say anything. The next day I saw him, which was yesterday. I saw him again, and I seen that same defeat in his face. And I rode past him at first, and then start eating at me, like, you know what I mean. And no, I know there's nothing that I can do other than speak, other than try to speak
Like to
life and light into his scenario, whatever it may be. And so I pulled over. You know what I mean.
oh,
I turned around,
that's fire.
went back, told him, you know what I mean, come on, bro, like, cause, oh, what's up, you know what I mean. Put him in the car, and I rode him to where he was going, where he was walking to, and I can tell that it's a level of, like, it's pride. It's pride that starts first, and then when you're in need because of lack. My thing is that there's really nothing that I can. You know what I mean? I can only thing I can offer is words
With empathy, you
and
gotta just,
empathy
and
because
that
I have,
empathy is
I have.
probably what they looking for more so than the
I
words.
can't say so much. I wouldn't say not necessarily this scenario, but I can't say so much that most of the people in that you see, that they're looking for some help. They want you to physically help them. And the thing about that is that, like, you can go down those wormholes, and generally they always need help. You know what I mean? It's not something that you can help a person and then they don't need you anymore. And but at the end of the day, I know that in my I have a family. I have kids. So, like, that's my priority.
You can't.
Beyond myself, I can't extend these
What you
resources anywhere
can't get there. You can't
more.
even.
Yeah, and there's not much. Like I said, I can offer empathy, and I can offer conversation, and attempt to say a thing that may inspire you
A
to
change
do a thing that's
section.
different. You know what I mean? Or to think of a thing in a different way. And that's really been on my heart because like I love them. You know what I mean? I love them, and it's still like, and it reminded me when it happened. It reminded me of the question that you had 2 episodes back.
About saving the
Exactly
people you
about
can't
what can you,
save.
yeah, what about how do you interact with the people that you really can't save? And
Mm.
and the thing is that I think my answer remains the same. I think the general like the conversation was what literally ran through my mind. And it's just like you still love them. You know what I mean? You still love them, and you do what it is within your means and what's on your heart to do. And and that's pretty much what it boiled down to me, for me.
No, I can respect that. I just, it's just sometimes it's so many people in the same situation,
Facts.
and it's like I know they couldn't have made all the same decisions.
Mm.
It's like a lot of people probably make different, or is it like all these decisions are the same and just end up in the same spot? What's up, Tom?
I was just gonna say, I was thinking, really kind of making an observation here. How much stuff are we reacting to that we don't realize we're reacting to still? Like we learn, like between those years of like 1 to 5, we learn a lot of stuff and we react to a lot of stuff, but we don't remember any of it.
Mm.
So how much of that is still affecting our lives, or we're still reacting in the same way
Well,
subconsciously?
okay, you used the word.
You
I was
talking
about to
about
say
like
most of that becomes
actual
like
actual trauma?
I
well, it's not.
guess,
It's
but
not
it's
even
not even
actual
as
trauma.
it's
What it
not even
is,
as trauma. It's just a reaction. Like you learn how to do things a certain way from your parents, kind of, or even like from different
Okay,
places. Like you don't even remember necessarily, and you're learning to react that way.
yeah, I
that's a good
think
point.
that if we go inside like the psychology lens of it is, they say that a good percentage, I'll say over 50% of your personality is imprinted by 5 years old. I want to say,
Mm.
in which the reality is most of us don't remember past 4 years old. Um, and like a lot of that becomes unpacking as we get older our unconscious biases, when it comes to whatever said thing is and our triggers and why, like, I don't know why that shit make me but
Mm-hmm.
it does. Yeah.
I agree.
So what do you? So is that the fact that most of our personality comes over 50% of our personality comes before we're 5 years old? Does that mean that life is actually what happened to it, or is it how we react?
I think as a
What does
kid,
that
you.
speak to?
I,
That fact. What
Well,
does
but
that
but
speak
that's
to
like
more?
such a like it's a personal thing,
Hmm.
in which life, I think the phrasing of it that I'm most comfortable with would be life can be what happens to you or how you react to it. And I think that the situations and places that you end up being is an accumulation of how you did one of the two.
mm.
Because I don't think that any of us do all of it all the time. Sometimes we succumb to the pressure of whatever happened to us, and sometimes we react to it in a positive or like overcoming way.
And,
Um,
and one thing I want to add to it, and it's crazy, our conversations is starting to like not even like our conversations on the pod, but like my conversations with my brothers outside of the pod, and because me and Tone again, we start talking about like the subconscious mind. I
mhm.
think that a lot of the times we don't realize, and I call it zombie mode. It's the mode that I'm in or how I respond to things when I'm not actually trying to have
That's
the I
when
don't
you're
have the
not
time
thinking.
to actually digest the thing. So it's like when something happens to you, your immediate reaction to that thing is what I call the zombie mode.
Or
So
that's
it's the
or some
subconscious
people would say
mind.
that's your true personality.
Yeah, but see, it could be
Some
someone's true
people some people
personality,
would
but
say this.
if you're a person that's doing the work, then you
Okay,
don't victimize yourself to act like that is who you
is
are.
you because I'm so much more than
Exactly,
just that.
exactly. So like,
Oh,
uh,
that's deep. Because I mean, I guess where does it lie, that initial reaction versus the work that you done?
and I'm gonna tell you this. This is something that the one thing that I've consistently prayed about, right? Even me not being a religious person, something that I've consistently asked for was the ability to make better decisions quicker,
Mhm.
wisdom, like the ability to make a decision, an educated educated decision with less time to think about it.
Discernment. I think that's what religious.
Well, I don't think discern. I think discernment is more of like the ability to kind of understand a thing, or like almost, not necessarily prophesy, but to. I think discernment is closer to like a predictionary kind of
And
thing.
more so like reading a person.
But
You can
not
Yeah,
about
but
read a
the same
person
thing.
really is how
not
I
the what
explain it.
you said, like as far as like understanding, like
It's
Yeah,
almost
like
like
within the situation, being able to discern if it's right or wrong,
I
like
thought
quickly being
that's
able to
discernment.
identify.
Okay, you could.
it goes
It could
further than
be.
that, but I'm with
Well,
you.
Yeah,
I
like
mean, you can unpack it further, but to my understanding of just like the
The
definition of
definition
the
of
term
why
discernment.
don't we just
discernment
somebody just pull it
is
up?
yeah.
Just pull it
Google
up.
it.
Hey,
I
hey,
ain't got my shit on.
I got mine,
birthday boy.
but
Could you
you
pull
got to
up
get on the mic.
discernment
Could you
for us?
Google
I'm on it.
discernment?
But
The ability to judge well, in Christian context, perception in the absence of judgment with a view to obtaining spiritual guidance and understanding.
yeah,
So that was a great word to use. I love being, you know what I mean? To let's get it right. I love that. So like, yeah, there would be discernment. And that's one thing. Like I can say, a lot of times, like I don't really, I'm kind of getting to a place where I don't mind praying for myself, but I never like prayed for myself. But that was the one thing that I did pray for. Is that because I understood early that like, yeah, like nigga, I'm literally the bad decisions or the things that I regret are literally coming off of this zombie mode. It's this
It could be
zombie mode.
misconception, miscommunication. Like you react off.
No, no, no. What I'm saying is that the idea of just going with what everybody else is doing. The idea for me to go left when it doesn't really make sense. But I didn't think it all the way through. I remember back in the day before I joined the military, I ended up in a truck with my homies. He said his brother got jumped. Bro got a rifle in the whip. Bro got another pistol in the car. I got orders to go to the military, and
You in the
I
same
hopped in the
car.
truck, and it was like literally off of a mode of me not thinking it through. I just
oh
end up in the
shit, that's
truck,
what
and
we
I'm like,
doing,
we
huh?
finna go.
But not.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, cause it was that emotion, and I think, dang, that's another thing as a man you have to.
Emotional intelligence.
That emotional intelligence is very much so more important because you can end up in a scenario that changes your life at a very young age, whereas you can be completely innocent. I could have literally just went in and did a few of them with a body on my record that it's like,
But
bro,
no,
I
that's
ain't
what I'm
have no
saying.
gun.
But
I would just
it
they
was
just
off loyal.
called
It
me.
was off loyalty. You went there off the strength of loyalty, and because there was a lack of discernment, you just going, I'm a loyal motherfucker, and loyal
And bro,
people do this without
I had
it.
done that multiple
But
times
that
in my
discernment is what meant like, you know what?
and as I gotten
Let me
older.
not get into this truck, and that's why that shit is so important and should be because you gotta have it,
Absolutely gotta have
because
it. And like I said, that's the
that's
one
what it's
thing
about.
I prayed for a lot, and like that's why I'm on the porch now. Like I done some, you know what I mean? I done jumped off of that Jew, and the thing is, I done been blessed not to have to hold them things. Cause I dropping out of high school, then dropping out of college, and then just the lifestyle that I led up until you know what I mean, understanding that like man, you gonna have to wear one of these. And so like, yeah, the subconscious mind, all that goes back into it and you know what I mean, the victim mentality and all that stuff. So I guess we're to bring it all back to you said the question was what is the importance of what you went through versus how you perceive,
But how you react to
how
it.
you react to
Hmm.
it. I think that yeah, you can be presented with all kinds of things. You can be presented with all kinds of things, and it is 100%. We all have those trials. We all have those trials and those stories, and it's definitely I'll say doggone. It's pretty much 100%. 98% of your reaction to your
You
scenario,
control it.
you control it. It's
Um,
not about being a victim. You in the driver's seat.
well, it's because no matter, and I guess I do have an answer after hearing niggas, speak. But I
Hmm.
guess like no matter how, and I know some people that's in that depression, in that deep dark depression, and sometimes it's hard to see outside of that. But like if
Been
you
there.
just know
Mm.
that like no matter how dark it get, no matter how there's always that choice to keep pushing. And the if you at the bottom, rock bottom, it's only one way it's gonna go. and it's gonna go up. So it's just, just like it is on you no matter how much. Like you could have the worst luck in the world. Like all the bad shit could happen to you. You still got a choice. If you wake up, God wake you up, you still got a choice. And that choice is where the power is.
Yeah,
That's where the power to change all that shit is that choice. And
Big tone.
Yeah, so fellas, I got a question real quick.
mm-hmm.
What are some of y'all ways of coming out of it? Like, since we know we all kind of agree that how you react to things is the big deal. So, what's your ways of coming out of that time where you're in a slump? What do you do? Like, what are some like
I mean,
in your personal life?
personally, if it's somebody like, or if it's like something I'm going through, if it's a person, like I try to at least like understand why they may feel the way they feel or do the things they're doing. Me
No, you talking
having,
about like when
When
you're
you're in a slump, like when
yeah,
when you're feeling down, like
yeah,
what
like
is it
when
that
I'm in
makes
a
you come
slump, if
out?
it's like a personal thing, let me figure out why they're doing this. Let me try to see if I can understand, and then that helps
oh, if
me.
somebody's impacting your personal stuff.
Right, yeah, they're
Okay.
impacting. Let me understand like why they're doing the things that they're doing that affects me. Where are they coming from? How are they looking at the situation? What do they even think about me to do the things that they're doing? And that's
Mm-hmm.
what helps me change or adjust the situation personally, because I I can only look at what I can do. Like I can only judge it based on the things I can change. So I have to look at it in some kind of way. Like what am I doing to make them look like that?
Yeah. If I was to go at it and maybe like y'all around me enough to where like maybe you can point out this fallacy or not, but um for me, I typically take everything that happens to me as a locus of my control. Um, Maybe y'all can point out to a time where I've like said something was on the back of somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
or like it's somebody else's fault. But typically for me, I literally don't blame anybody but myself. But when you have that, you also have the empowerment to be able to change everything that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like a big piece of my worldview in
It's the
general.
gift and the
Is that
curse.
I don't really blame anybody for anything that happens to me. And like I think that most things are within the locus of my control.
Can
Keith he might have a rebuttal.
hey
No.
Keith, hey
I
Keith,
don't.
before I go, it's just something before you go. I think that's the power because it's like if everything that happens to you is your fault, then
But it's also like your benefit when it
but
does
that I
go
mean,
right.
but no, that means you have all the power to change. That means you control
Right.
That's on the
That's
same shit
more
I've
or
everything
been
less
saying.
what I
at the
The
go with.
same
same shit
time.
I've been saying. We
That's
had this
you
conversation the other
control.
week.
If everything's your fault, that means you can change everything in front of
But
you.
typically that's what I walk by with.
No, I
But
like
Keith,
that.
So I didn't have a rebuttal. Like as I didn't disagree with anything that you were actually saying. I think to a certain extent, it is always your fault. You choose the places that you be around. You choose people that you interact with. You choose the attitude that you would have to a specific situation. Um, and just make sure I'm on this is just strictly about like in being in a slump personally.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But
So
my thing is that like you choose what you do in your free time also.
right.
And what you do in your free time is like the most important thing out of all. Where like you can have 8 hours, you can have 4 hours, you can have 16 hours. What you're doing in that specific moment, is like the most important thing. And like I think that your life becomes an accumulation of those things. I mean, of course, what
Those
you do at
decisions.
yeah, like what you do at work and different shit like that can help inside like that specific sphere. But like more times than not, what we do for work is not what we end up wanting to do, wanting to be. So
Facts.
like
No,
if I
that's
look at like even if I go like music in me, I say, I put in specific efforts inside specific times, but then there's always times that I could be like, damn, I could have probably did more.
Mm-hmm.
But I also look at the times that I did as like an accumulation of like the successes I had. And
mhm.
like I did a great job at what I did inside those moments. But like I apply that across the field when it comes down to like my skill set as a professional, when it comes down to my skill set as being an entrepreneur, or like different ideals that I have when it comes down to like separate goals, when it comes down to like just a bunch of things, is that we all have 24. Most of us are stricken within like an 11-hour period. We go wake up, drive to work, drive back, XYZ. What are you doing with the rest of that shit? And to me, I look at it as like that's a big piece of
That's
my
on
own
So,
you.
personal art.
so I would. So have a slight disagreement. I don't think it's what are you doing after you're not working. So like just to make it personal. Um, I went through a bout of depression back when I was working for a truck plant, and I didn't really tell anybody about it. But I don't know. I don't necessarily. I think I. How can I say it? I I thank the gym working out because I think that put me in a better mood, and then something clicked in my mind where I was just like, I'm gonna have a good day. So what I equated that to was being more positive on social media, not having a bad attitude while I'm at work, because at being at work 8 to however many hours a day that you actually work, that's a can be a third or more of your life. So you don't want to have that be miserable and then everything else just be wonderful. So when I got like how I tricks I would use on my mind is that like as soon as I got to work, I already counted the day as being over. I made it to work.
You showed up.
I showed up. The day is done. All I have to do is just do what I know how to do, and everything is going to just be what it is. And I think that's a big thing that I think a lot of people don't necessarily do. Is there's a certain level of willpower that you have to actually have. And I literally just started telling myself, like, yo, I'm gonna have a good day today. And I had a good day. I spoke to people. I was not so quick to be upset about something that happens because at the end of the day, I told myself I was going to have a good day, and those things wouldn't let me have a good day. So I think that's a good thing. It's a level of willpower that you have to have internally with yourself because no, like even if you absolutely hate your job, trick yourself into believing that you like it.
It's a choice. Like,
Yeah,
like
and
Let
make
me
it a
just go
great
real
day or
quick.
not. The choice is yours.
And I don't disagree with anything you said. And I think that it's different for everybody. Like for me, as we talked about in like in the last part, I was saying like one of my go tos is dressing the way I want to feel. So
Thank
that's
you.
one of my go tos is dressing the way I want to feel, and it doesn't always work. But in a good bit of times it does,
But
and
there's
I know
some
that certain.
validity to doing it. Just because it didn't work last time, mean
Right, right,
you
right. It's
can't do
something
it
that
again.
like
Yeah.
literally because that's one of those when you first wake up things like I can if you have the ability to choose what you present yourself as, then that could be something that you can use. Another thing is like I agree with accountability. 100% accountability is just one of those things. It's just what it is, and so I think that the more complaining you do, the worse your days will be.
No, it's facts because like
And so
That goes to the point of what I was saying. Like and what I also did as well is that a lot of times the bad day that you're having is not because anything is actually happening to you specifically.
it's
It's
how you
because you
feel,
are around people who are having a bad day,
or
and
it's how
that
you feel.
no, well that too, but I think a lot of it is
yeah,
I'm around someone who doesn't necessarily know and to like how to actually have a good day, and they start complaining at work and yada yada yada. So I always made it a point again to the same story to like say something positive when they said something negative.
and then you just
Nah,
also have to
hey,
know what your motivation is. So it's like you don't the people that complain the most, if you notice that they're usually doing
The worst.
the
but
worst.
now here's the
And then
thing.
and then it's not necessarily that they're doing well, no, they're generally doing the worst because they just complain so much. So everything is so
It's
gloomy and doom and
manifestation.
gloom and the power of the tongue.
But
The
now,
power of the tongue is that you can create the thing and you can if you speak a thing enough then you begin to believe the thing. And as long as you believe the thing, then you will start to manifest the thing. And so there's literally a level of first accountability for what it is that you're doing that is making your day worse. Then it's those tactics that you use to change that. Then it's that change it for yourself, and then the environment that you put yourself into that can allow your mood to be changed as well.
but now here's my thing. Like it's like if you wake up and the way you're feeling is based on what's happening to you, you have no power, and that's just gonna lead to more depression. Like, cause I can't change it. It's what's happening to me, and it's of this world. I can't do nothing. But if you look at it like everything that's happened to me is my fault, then you're like, oh shit, I have the power to change this, and I can do this, and I shouldn't even feel no way because it's just based on what I'm going to do. And I think that's the power in the mindset is like, depending on how you wake up, if you choose to put it on the world, then you're going to feel bad because you can't control the
Because ain't
world. But
nothing
if
you
you
can do.
wake up and put it on yourself, you'll feel good because you can control you. What's
And
up,
yeah,
Tone?
and
I,
okay.
I was gonna say I definitely go through like my process, my personal process. What I usually do, I I think it's definitely important to be able to feel your feelings, like be okay with feeling the feeling. But I think that, and it's kind of a process. Like I said, it's steps. I feel the feeling first of whatever it is I'm feeling. Like I acknowledge what I'm feeling. Like whatever I'm thinking, I just sit there and like
Got
let those
to.
thoughts flow. And then I try to identify, okay, why do I feel like this? And what is it that I did to contribute to that? Like that is the key, like finding out why I'm accountable. Because like you are accountable, but there is some situations where you know you in stuff and you just around people and you love people and you're around these people that you love and they put you in stuff and you still do have to identify that also. Like I allowed myself to be put in a predicament that I knew this person was
All you can control is what you do.
what you do.
Is yeah, nah,
You
it's
can't
what you.
control anything else on this world. Like if you don't like rain, you're gonna have a bunch of bad days. Cause it's gonna you can't control the rain. It's gonna rain. Now if you decide I don't give a fuck about the rain. When it rain, I'm gonna go collect. If you change your mindset of how you look at rainy days, you're not gonna have that many bad days. But if you decide any day it rain, I'm gonna have a bad day. You're gonna have a bunch of bad days, and ain't nothing I'm gonna be able to do. None of y'all gonna be able to help that person because whenever it rains, they gonna have a bad day.
Whenever it rains, it's gonna pour.
They gonna yeah, exactly. But if I decide that you know what, rainy days ain't really shit. I can water my plant. If I decide to look at rainy days differently, then whenever it rain, my day gonna be the same day I would have had no matter what, because I look at rainy days differently. But if you don't, you know, if you don't like to get wet and you don't like rain, you gonna have a bunch of bad days. That's just what God got for you, because you don't like the rain. I can't control the rain. None of us can control the rain. It's gonna rain on you.
Yeah. And I guess like I'll just kind of go back to kind of what I said a second ago. In which I do think that yes, your day to day, uh, when you wake up, when you're at work, it is important to keep like a positive mindset. But I do think that even if we speak about like when we're down and we're low on ourselves, it's the outlook of what the future is. And I believe that that comes down to literally what you do when you actually have time to do shit. When you're not stricken between the 9 to 5, even if you're trying to like increase whatever you're trying to increase. Um, but again, to broaden it out even further, again, I think that as long as you have the mindset that states that everything that happens is within my control is the most important thing. Um, and how you find the way to enact the positive out of that, I think that that comes down to like you and your personhood. But I think that that is the most important part, or I guess for me, that is the most important
And that's
important part,
literally like
and
the
that's
cognitive behavioral therapy approach to mental health.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
See,
literally
that's
that.
that's what we did
Feelings,
today,
thoughts, actions. It's something like that.
nigga.
In
Nigga,
which like is just like that marriage between the two. And this is also like truthfully, while like there's certain conspiracies that I don't allow myself to dive too deep into because it takes away the agency of self. Like when you get too deep into like that world, like the world order shit and stuff like that,
we ain't gonna do
and
it.
everything's completely
Out of
planned
your
out.
hands.
Yeah, yeah, like there is a certain level of submission to the a system and like everything being out of your hands.
I completely agree.
That it takes away the personal agency of self. In which I do always still believe that there is a personal agency of self that is important to be able to enact like positive actions for yourself.
No, yeah, before we, because you can go a couple different ways on that one. But before Keith want to do it, but no, we're going ahead and put a pin in it.
All right, so I got one, fellas. And it'll kind of build off the conversation we was at, and as well, my son's currently reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, in which it speaks about like your relationship and his rich dad and his poor dad, quote unquote, relationship with finances.
Right.
I like to make it a two-part question, and we'll start with one. A, what is your relationship with finances? And like, yeah, we'll leave it as broad as that. And then B, I like to unpack what are your. We're all like, this is the plus 30 podcast. I think our next milestone is 40 for everybody. In which, what are some milestones that you would like to be at or reach by then?
About 40.
By 40, yep.
Hey, can I ask a more like clarifying question
Go
to
ahead.
yours? Because like based on like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is the financial conversation based on what we was given from our parents or just like our current?
Oh no, what is your relationship?
Okay.
So not literally Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Based on
but
Okay.
the book spurred it, and his like his perspective on what he called Rich Dad and Poor Dad.
It's
Right.
called.
Was based off of like their perspective on finances. So what is your perspective on finances?
Right. Okay. No, I get that. Nah, I mean, personally, like I say, my parents were, y'all would say middle class, well to do. Like I come from middle class, suburban, quote unquote. I mean, I don't necessarily look at it like that, but I understand I was fortunate in the way I was raised and how, 2-parent household. There's a lot of things I had that not all my friends had opportunity to. So based on that, like my initial, introduction to money was just like be careful with credit. Like watch out, like don't buy nothing you can't afford. And that's kind of how I live. And getting old, like getting older, working in my field, learning about the economy a little more, and just being a grown person, I have finally understood like the importance of credit, and it's not something that's like in my household growing up. And I ain't gonna get too personal, but like it's something that was taught to be feared, or something that could get out of hand, or something
Which
that's
is
not.
true.
It wasn't taught to me as a tool, but just something
I
to be
see. I
afraid
see.
of.
Yeah.
And as like the older I get, the more I'm like, oh shit, now credit is actually a tool, and it's not this big unknown mystery thing that I need to be afraid of. And that's something I'm learning. You know, just being in my field, and something that I don't think I was necessarily taught based on how they looked at credit. Uh, so then that's one because like you say, credit's very it's we could go into I don't want to be a financial podcast, but no, credit's very
Ain't
important,
nothing
man.
wrong with
Yeah,
that.
ain't
But
nothing wrong with
like
dropping some
we had a
financial
segment.
gems. This is
I'm
what
not a fiduciary or whatever they say.
fiduciary.
No, but we talking about
This
like
ain't
your personal.
financial advice. This is just
But we ain't asking
Yeah,
that
your
advice.
personal.
We asking like your
yeah,
personal
personal thing. Yeah, no, I'm
perspective
saying
on money.
I'm
And
finally figuring it out. I'm not saying the road I went down is my road. You gotta go down that road on your own, but it's something I'm seeing now.
Tone.
I'm gonna be very, very vulnerable here. I'm just going ahead and preface that. Just be open about how my thought process is. Growing up, like just the way that I grew up, not even gonna talk about like how my mom was or anything like that, but just the result of me growing up, my initial reaction with finances was kind of like I sum it up to Kanye's line. I got a problem with spending before I get it. We all self-conscious. I'm just the first to admit it. Like like that's one of the issues I definitely had an issue with like growing up, like as far as like I didn't get a lot of what I wanted. So when it came time like I'm making money, like I'm spending money on what I want sometimes before I need to spend it on what I like before I spend it on what I need, because I'm like, okay, at the end of the day I'm gonna pay what I need eventually, but what I want,
I gotta have it.
I gotta have it. Like, and that's something that's something that's been transitioning as I've been an entrepreneur, because the way that I have to operate in
Oh yeah.
entrepreneurship, there's some weeks where you can be thinking you're going to get paid by somebody and then stuff just don't work out, or
And
stuff just
that and the
happens all
money
the time.
from that week before, you gotta been done saved it
Mm-hmm.
because you're gonna need
And
it
it can
two,
be
3
like,
weeks.
and it
Yeah.
can be one little situation that literally puts everything behind. Like you can, like literally, I'm still behind right now, or I'm just now being able to catch back up from something that happened in December, like spending frugally in December, like as far as buying stuff for Christmas, trying to put on and everything. And I knew I couldn't afford it, but it was like I was still trying to do it. And it's not even the first time I've learned that lesson. It was just like trying to put on and keep up with the Joneses and stuff like that. So I've been through that time of finances, and like I'm just now learning how to come out of that more so. A big part of that is being around like you guys, like being around the people that I'm around. Like I have friends that have houses, that own their houses, and like yeah, I'm putting myself out there for a reason because I do know there are a lot of 35-year-old men. Like I'm 35 years old. I'm just putting myself fully out there. There are a lot of men around my age that are dealing with some of the same situations, and we have this thing about like we really as men are like looking at what females say about a lot of stuff, but I just want to put it out there like just because you ain't got it together now don't mean you're not, and keep pushing it because we need that motivation. So yeah, you're not the only one. If you feeling like the same way I'm feeling out there, you're not the only one. Like
That's dope.
I know I'm not the only one, so I had to learn that too. Like yeah, but definitely, I look at my friends now, and that helps a lot. But my initial growing up financially was not in a good mindset. I definitely was spending before I had it, and had bad habits with my money.
Well, people gotta realize your value ain't in like the dollar sign that's attached on your bank account. You
Hmm.
know, motherfucker, you got weight. Like, there's value in a whole lot of other stuff, especially if you're talking community.
Hmm.
Like, if we doing this whole thing together and shit, like dollar signs ain't really got too much value.
Oh, one more
Yeah,
thing
but I
too.
wanted
I'm
to
glad
go.
you just said that.
Hmm.
Um, I'm a very spiritual person, so that's been part of my aspect as far as finances has went. Like having the mindset of money's not important. So you like I depend on God for everything, and that is true. But there's a certain amount of effort that you still have to put in to do certain things. Like you still need money to survive, so you
You
still have to
still gotta
focus
try
on
to
those
get it.
things. Yeah, you still got
Yeah,
to
one of
try. Like
one
Right,
of the
and I
things I
think
always said
go
was
ahead.
like, and even in the spiritual realm, like I always, even before I even kind of embarked on my new journey, I always said that gotta open the door, but you got to build it first. Um, and
Who?
so but one thing that you said that I wanted to piggyback on is that that was a year. It had to been like in middle school time. Since middle school, I hated Christmas. I hated Christmas specifically because of one year, and this is gonna be one of them things. I've told this story possibly a few times before, um, but I told my mom I wanted a scooter. That was a time period. I know y'all remember the Razor scooters.
Oh no, yeah.
But I didn't want a Razor scooter. There was a scooter that was in one of the guys in my neighborhood. He had like a scooter with big wheels, like a big scooter. It
The
had big
big,
wheels and like
the heavy
like
duty
brakes on
joint.
like a bike brake, like brakes on a bicycle. And I told her I wanted one of those. And when Christmas came, and that was the only thing I asked for. And Christmas came, and I'm opening my package or whatever, and I pull out the Razor scooter. And so, but let me preface before the day before that, I had a talk with the person my mom was dating and my brother, and they told me to make sure that I'm thankful. Be thankful for whatever you get. And once I opened it up, I acted surprised. Me just being honest, I acted surprised. And then when I thought my mom had left the room, I had asked them. I was pretty much asking them, did my acting work? I didn't know my mom heard it, and she bust out crying and ran to the back room. Right, so I never unsee that. And to be completely honest, like she told me, we had a conversation about it a few years ago, and she said that that wasn't there. It was something with my sister that she was actually crying about. But I always feel like, you know what I mean? It
It
sticks with me, and I literally hated Christmas, and I wasn't going to celebrate Christmas even with my children until until I was convinced to.
no, you
It
gotta
was
do
like,
that.
you
You
can't
can't
necessarily
punish
take that away
them.
from them. You know what I mean? So like I celebrate it in my own way because of how I feel about it. But a lot of people, my mom literally like would go rent a center, beating a whole bunch of folk out of bread. My mom paid like $1,000 for a VCR back in the day from Rent a Center, a Mitsubishi VCR,
But that don't mean
No, but see, my thing is that we overextend ourselves because of this dumbass holiday. And this really, really, like, I really strongly despise those type of holidays. But at the end of the day, I will
I was
not
gonna
take it
say.
away from my. I didn't take it away from my kids, but there's a way that I decide to do it that is different than what I experience. I will never extend myself anything close to thin off of any holiday.
But I imagine you were probably in a different position than your mom
No, I
was.
am in a different position, but it still doesn't negate the fact that it's based on this holiday. And this holiday is literally a lot of black people are doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And bro, when I say I affect, when she cried, bro, I literally, bro, I can't, and we'll move forward from that because I get pissed off at myself in live time about that. And yeah, I don't like, that's something that I carry. I carry that one. But what I'll say is to answer the question
You
that he
also gotta
had.
forgive yourself though, because you was a kid,
Yeah, no, not.
and like I mean, you can't like I get it,
Hmm.
like you can't carry it too much because, like you say, you got kids now, and
Yeah.
you don't want the way you feel about that shit to affect the way they experience it.
No, for sure,
And
not one hundred
so,
percent agree. But I mean that they will experience it differently though, because of my experience with it, and we'll have the conversation as to why it's not as important as everybody around you may think it is. We're just gonna have to have the conversation, and I'll explain the thing through, and I'll listen to what they have to say about it too. Once we get to once we get to an age where there can be a dialogue had, I don't mind having a dialogue. But that's the way that I'm going to handle it. I'm going to be honest, the same story. I'm going to tell them the story so they can understand where I'm coming from. And then we'll have a dialogue about it once that time comes that we can have that. But in order, and I'm gonna go back to the question. And the Rich Dad Poor Dad is actually, I haven't read the book, but I've heard a lot of the audio book to it, and I've seen a lot of the story behind the book. It's definitely a great read. The way that his actual dad was the poor dad, and then the guy he was working for was the
the
rich
rich
dad.
dad.
And so like that dynamic is actually really dope and how it transpires. But the way I would say my relationship with money, and it's actually I go against a lot of the things that I watch a lot of financial literacy videos, and you know what I mean they literally talk about like and especially in right now in this time period they're telling you to save your money, put your money up because we're bracing ourselves for what could be. Based in like the way that I address finances, my thing is debt free.
Mm.
And a lot of people would say like debt's a good thing, and I do believe that debt can be a thing that can take you to another place. But for me specifically in my placement here, debt free aside from my house, aside from my home because my home is an appreciating asset, I don't look at it as debt. I look at cars, credit
No,
cards,
okay.
loans, those type of things are actually debt to me. So I pay my debt aggressively. I don't believe in minimum payments. I believe that they give you a minimum payment. The reason why tell you that it's minimum so they can stretch that bread out and get that interest for
Bro,
longer.
you didn't work there. You know about the amortization
Amortization
chart.
tables and all that shit.
You know
Yeah,
about that. You
yeah,
know
yeah, yeah. I
exactly
worked
what the
in
game
banking and you know what I
is.
mean.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know
Now you gotta
exactly
give,
how
but you
they.
gotta give them. You can't just say like you got. It's an
Oh
amortization
yeah,
chart
yeah, yeah.
that they give you to where if you make the minimum payments,
Yes,
you gonna like. But you gotta break it
yes.
down and tell people that's what
And
it
especially
is.
in today's time, with like right now with the rates being how they are,
Yeah, you gotta
the
tell
interest rates are
people.
so high. I don't know if I it's when I say like people talking about buying a home right now, it's kind of a rock and a hard place because like, they were predicting that the actual cost of homes would come down
Drop
with the
the
interest rates
rates would go
rising,
up.
but it actually hasn't really happened that way. It's like the home prices have like stayed fairly consistent.
Well, that's because all the banks bought the houses and it's corporate.
Well,
But I
you're
mean,
competing with yeah. Well,
with
to the
Well,
extent of
well,
what
they're
you're
not
saying is
gonna
true.
drop the prices on them on their damn selves
right,
because if they own enough of the market, you can control the prices.
correct. And then this is I agree with what you're saying. And this is the first time that I've seen like, and of course we're not but so old, so we haven't seen like we weren't old enough to see what the last recession or to be
We haven't seen the cycle
financially
yet.
literate, but
We've only
at the
seen one
last
half of the cycle.
right. So like you see they building like new developments, brand new single family household neighborhoods all for lease. They're literally renting
Well,
out
that
every
goes to
home.
what he was
And yeah,
saying.
and that's what I'm saying. That's why I said, you know what I mean, to piggyback off of what he said. But anyway, back to my relationship. I pay debt off aggressively.
Okay.
I'm very firm in that. So like I believe that and that's why I also don't believe that it takes so much money to be so much money as people talk about like this. It doesn't necessarily take 6 figures to live a 6 figure lifestyle. It just takes for you to bring
It takes
down
a fire budget.
just a fire budget and to
Diligence.
make these decisions at the time period. So like if
And
you bought a
discipline.
house where we had
Discipline.
you can get a 2% interest rate, you fire. So like you know what I mean? Well, I don't know if he gonna go into that part, but I think that he's doing a great his mindset is a great space where you talk about, okay, so if I got my house and this percentage is my rate, then this is a perfect rental property for me to be putting my eyes on another. And then so to go into your second question, what is it?
I don't think he asked
Oh,
the
you
second
so
one
we
yet.
just answered the first one all
Yeah,
together.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, go ahead. My bad. I'll
Yeah.
let my time. I talked for too long. My bad. My bad.
That man was finna
He
give
about
us.
to go into another
He
I
was
bit.
got in
finna
my
give. He
feelings.
was finna give
I
us
just got into
all
my
the
feelings for a
jewels.
second, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Nah, like it's great potting. In which all right, so relationship with money. I think that everybody started at how their relationship with money started, which comes down to family background. So for me, like I came up with altogether 6 of us. So money was a scarcity. Allowance was a scarcity. Excess things was a scarcity. One of my like middle school memories is like I asked for a pair of jeans or it was like jean shorts. Someone was like, "Oh, you don't ask for nothing, so I'm gonna get you these
Them fucking
or whatnot." And we
jabos.
went to like you know what I mean like a discount place.
This nigga talking about Jabos.
Nah, it
No,
wasn't
nigga,
close
that
to Jabos.
definitely wasn't
Like
Jabos.
I mean, truthfully, like it's no
Nigga.
like
Suburban black.
no discount to like
Oh
my
yeah.
people or my
Oh,
mother
for
and them.
sure,
We
for
had
sure.
But
those.
like we just went to like Walmart or it was Kmart. It was one of those two
Yeah.
or whatnot. But I also grew up very humbly where like the first 3 years we was walking everywhere. So like I never had the idea of gaudy shit or like wanting gaudy shit or like anything like that. It was just a matter of like I just wanted to have enough to where like sometimes it might be like I didn't get picked on. Or sometimes it was just enough to where I felt that I looked cool or something like that. But it was never like at the end of I was never thinking about Jabos,
Right.
Anichi,
Tripping.
food, like nothing like that. That was the shit that like my uncle that was working was gonna have, something like that. And I
Right.
could hope and pray that I can fit this shit
Yeah.
and ask him to borrow
Talking
it.
about, hold on.
Get the hand-me-downs.
I'm 36.
No.
He's talking about.
Oh, to my like this is like middle school time. I think like most of us come to age of like our recognition of self and image that we want to put out to the world a little bit inside like that late elementary, middle
That's
school,
crazy.
and then once we stand in it inside high school a little bit. But so for me, I always had the idea that if I had money, I wanted to hold on to it. So like back in the day, it started with like video games. So I knew that like I wasn't just gonna get the video games that I wanted. So I got $10 allowance and like that new EA Sports. It could be like college, NCAA, whatever.
NCAA football
You know what I mean?
03.
And like
Getting
I
what you
wanted
could
it, but
get.
like my dad, he was gonna buy live and he was gonna buy man. That was it. You want anything else? Like you better do your best with it
Yeah.
to get that shit. And so like I wouldn't spend $1 for like 4 weeks.
Ooh.
So I can go grab at $39.99
Yep.
that jump. And my perspective with money has kind of like derived from that thing. Where like in general, like I'm not going to like spend money frivolously because I'm typically working for a bigger goal. And that's been like my basis for like my life. And what is kind of like landed me where I'm at is that like in general, I will make big purchases, but I kind of don't really care much for like a lot of gaudy shit because that I was allotted. And I think that you typically going to your earlier question is like that you can be placed in a circumstance and how you react to it can kind of go like different ways. And for me, the fact that I never had it, I never wanted it. Same thing with Jordans. I've never had a pair of Jordans on my feet ever in my life, and because of that, I don't have a want for it. Even though, like, say my son,
Never?
I've never. My parents never had like we've never like that was out of like budget at all times. Like my parents wasn't getting close to paying for that, and so
I knew
because
I
of that,
wasn't gonna have
what I had to
that.
do was like learn. Oh, what is like the lower level shoes that could pass off. That might have been like Adidas shell toes at one time.
You know the
That could have been
beautiful thing?
Soldier Reeds at one time.
Not
That
even-
was Air
Some-
Force One.
not even
something beautiful,
flights.
something beautiful that like I think that this is a thing. Like even in myself, like we when you aren't growing up getting these things. So I definitely had Jordans, but I didn't have a pair of Jordans until I bought my own. And I realized during that time period, I was doing it solely because of what everybody else was
To
doing.
be cool.
You know what I mean? And so like as an adult man, I got a pair. Matter of fact, I gave a young boy about 3 pair of Jordans that I did have, and I got 1 pair that I just don't wear. I would probably give them away too, just because I'm not gonna wear them. But I think that it comes a place where it's like you'll purposely not like a thing because it's not something that you just would have been given to you. So like I'll on purpose like shit like I don't like Jordans. I wouldn't buy them. And so like I purposefully decided that ain't gonna be a thing because it just costs too much. So
Right.
I don't even like them. You know what I mean? It's like I've mind fucked myself into like they don't really have a value to me at all.
And for me, I think that at an early age, I understood the concept of overcompensation. And so for me, like that was like a thing that I tried to never do.
Right.
Like I could afford forces, and like back in the day, get my refund check. I had like 6 forces, the sneaker man forces too, and
Yeah,
I got
that was
the
about
colors.
White,
$50.
black,
Yeah.
About
low
50,
top,
$60.
mid top.
Yeah, and I had the
Gotta come
colors and
through.
shit. And like truthfully, like I would spend enough money on sneakers, but I just never would get Jordans because that was nothing that I could get, and that it was a piece of like my personality to have.
I
And
never
so
knew that.
I'm gonna go to you, Tone, in a second. In general, like I said, my relationship with money has always kind of like derived from that, in which yeah, like more times than not, like I do not spend frivolously because of my biggest fear is not having. So like I've always had like a really big saver mindset, and to a lot of people they come off as cheap X, Y, and Z, but to me I feel comfort in the fact that okay, I'm okay, and I have like X, Y, and Z things put away, and I've seen with like different members of my family in which like I know what that looks like to be homeless. I know what it looks like to go into like different shelters and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it.
So let me
And
ask you this
go
real
ahead.
quick, and then this is just a question. So like we talk about finance. So when you say savings, are you saying like a savings account, or will you say like a portfolio, or are you saying like a mixture of both, or is it like with the
All right. So what I would say
401k
is
or
that
Shoebox.
I am.
I know he ain't a shoebox guy.
Oh no,
That's not a
nah.
thing.
Well, yeah,
That's not a
it's in the
thing.
bank. But what I'll say is that like I'm newly like financially literate and becoming. So what I in general what it would be is just like savings, and that can be just in the checking account.
Hold on, put it
And-
in your savings account. Don't put it in your checking
Oh,
account.
He's
again,
talking about in the past.
right.
Oh, okay, my bad. I
But
was
my
about
thing
to
is
say
like
getting the
everything,
interest on it. But go ahead, my
everything
bad.
becomes like there's steps to it.
Yeah.
Like you get into like 401k with the company match. You get into like the IRA.
Right,
You
right.
get into like okay, I'm gonna put a certain amount away for like stocks and shit like that, and I like to see a certain amount aside like my checking and my savings, and like that's more or less where I'm at now. But I'm not going to also say like I didn't start off in a very specific space, and like through like the journey of financial literacy has came to like okay, let me make sure that I have different things in different spaces, in which like truthfully to this week like Todd put me on to like there's like 3 different little like I wouldn't say 3, so she sent me 3 different, but like banks have like incentives that come down to like opening up accounts and have a certain amount of money in it.
Oh yeah.
And
for
which
sure.
like
The minimum
and-
balance accounts.
yeah. In which in 3 months you put 1,000 in a bank
And
account.
leave it in there for X
They-
amount of days.
Yeah,
they'll
like
give
90
you-
days they gonna
Uh-huh.
give you 300.
But
They fuck around and give you 500.
They gonna invest that motherfucker.
Yeah,
No,
but it's still
But
it's your
that's cool
benefit
because
now. You try.
like that's
Yeah.
free 500 and you can close that bitch after the time. So
Facts.
really, it really doesn't matter. Like I don't give a shit what you do with that money at that point in time. As long as I get my shit back, it really doesn't matter.
I'm curious, Q, how important was having an allowance in your financial literacy?
So I think So I'll say important because of I had allowance and didn't have allowances for like extended periods of time.
Right.
Okay.
That was a
That makes
part of
sense
the
too.
black
So
experience.
like for me like the
We
idea of
got
not
the.
having allowance, like you value like just having a couple dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I did have a couple dollars, like I made sure I tried to keep a couple dollars.
And why I keyed in on that is because I realized like how important that actually is. Like when I was younger, I took the mindset like that most of the adults around us were saying, allowance. You allowed to do such and such so and so, and you allowed to have a room, and you allowed to go in this bathroom. But I'm like, if I would have actually been able to have an allowance where I was earning money for stuff when I was younger, I think that would have helped in my mentality a lot more because like I can see how when you have to save up to get what you want, you learn what's more valuable, like for yourself. Like when you spend your parents' money, it's a whole different thing. Like when you're young, you can just spend your parents' money. Like you don't even
Boy,
think
this
about
this
it.
kid right beside me just got a lecture on that motherfucker this week.
Got a
Go
what
ahead.
now?
A lecture. I'm a lecture boy.
Oh, a
Like,
lecture.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna get that one out.
And then the thing is also like that come with the what we also have to understand is that and that's why the allowances would come and go. It was based in financial situation. Like we you know what I mean. We had a family of three. Even with the smaller family, my mom was a single mother, and hey, you might have got an allowance for a month and didn't get it for 6,
Yeah.
and then get a
Them
month.
chores still
And
had to
then,
be done.
oh yeah, the expectation was the same. So it really didn't. It wasn't really me paying you for doing this. It was literally that. Oh, I have the money to give you some money, but we're gonna call it allowance.
Do the shit
So
you was doing the last 3 months,
And you ain't
and you
gonna get
right.
a.
do it.
And then,
So
and then when you don't do it, then you. That's why you ain't getting no damn allowance.
before we
Motherfucker, I
go,
wasn't getting it no way.
Hey,
hey
but that,
fellas, before we go too long, um, the second half of the question,
okay.
what are some just some goals that you have to hit before 40?
I'll say married, kids,
I like that.
Marrying kids
married kid. Uh,
in that order.
yeah, definitely,
Mm-hmm.
definitely in that order. Definitely in that order. I ain't
Beautiful
trying to
thought
do it
process.
kid then married.
Yeah.
That sounds like trouble. But also I will say from this year to last year, I will say the pod is one of the things that I feel like it's been a good positive influence. Been doing it damn near a year
We
Damn
almost
near a
there.
year. Yeah.
so
We almost
far.
September hit it.
I'm gonna say yeah, it might even be a year, like
When we
depending on
start talking about it in
when you
July.
start, like when you count the effect. But
The first official episode was September.
September. Yeah.
I think we started like some pilot shits around a
Mm-hmm.
year ago.
Mm.
But just being around niggas, having like my thoughts challenged, being able to challenge other people's thoughts, being able to see other people's perspectives on certain shit over the last year, I would say this has been one of the most, I guess the word would be impactful. I
Mm.
mean, as far as how I think, and like I probably had the most shift in my thought from this time last year to this time,
Mm.
and almost any other, like, cause it's been valid reasons for me to change the way. Like a lot
That's
of
dope.
time people will try to give you ideas, and it don't be no validity. You don't flesh it all the way out, so you just be like, man, fuck what they talking about. I'm gonna just keep on thinking. But this one of the few opportunities where, like, I've said something, niggas done sat down and let me get it all the way out, and then tell me why it's some bullshit. and, then tell me why I thought I got it all the way out. Nah, that's some bullshit because of X, Y, and Z. And so like that has challenged me to like even like my initial thoughts, the way I word stuff, but it's good. It's it's elevated me. And so we're gonna do the year to year check in.
Yeah.
That's one of the ones I've definitely like seen and I appreciate. I want to thank you boys. You know,
Love you, bro.
oh yeah, love y'all boys, man.
Yeah.
Tone, Keith, we gonna do some air depth. I love y'all boys. We we got Junior over there. You know, I appreciate him. He been rocking with us the whole time. But it's just the past year has been really fruitful in the way I think, and I think that's one of the most important things.
You want to go or
It
I
doesn't
can
matter.
go?
I'll go.
Okay.
And we said from this point, which my birthday is next week.
Mm.
I'll be
The 27th.
9th,
Okay,
Saturday.
29th. Okay.
And we gonna watch that fight. But from here until there. See, honestly, I got a lot more short term goals, and then my that's
You can
more of
throw them
like
in there.
well my
It's
thing would be is that like first off, debt free outside of my home is like that's like
okay.
soon
Essential.
that like I'm before mid next year I want to be there. Then also within that, between I'm gonna say just based on the interest rate, they maybe 25 is when they saying we could possibly start to see a decrease. So I'm gonna say between 25 within the next 4 years, I will have another rental property. I will have that. Um, and what really way I'm trying to work it out is that it between now and then it'll be two. One equity based, and then one that I can just kind of do it off the strength. And
Mm.
another one, man, is like another big one for me is having a fruitful co-parenting situation.
Mm.
That's very important within this next
Big.
few years. Um, and I say, man, if I can knock those out, man, I'm trying. You know what I mean?
I'm
Hey, I'm
functions with
batting.
it.
I'm batting. You know what I mean?
Boy
That's
say,
a home
that
run.
boy say,
Man,
I'm back in it, man.
man, that's a home
Yeah.
run. If I can knock those out, that'll be putting me right where I want to be. Looking forward to 50, boy. I'm looking
But that's
forward.
a
But
different type
don't
of time.
let's get the
That
40
nigga
first.
just trying to skip
Hey,
over.
Just
no, I
get
ain't
the
trying to skip
get
over,
the
but I
get the
just
40
like the
first, bro.
He
idea
is
of
his
it.
daddy's son. He's
It's
trying to be
just
his
so
dad right now.
Just
nah,
get the 40,
like,
bro.
Get to
bro.
40.
Like, you said 50, bro.
It's a
40.
different
Yeah,
type of time.
Yeah, I'm
that's
not
all I'm
even
thinking. I
thinking
look
about
at
50
long
right
term
now.
It's
too.
10
Like I look
years
at
in
long
between
term
40 and
goals as
50.
well.
And he
He ain't even at 40
he ain't
yet.
halfway to 40 yet.
Damn, I'm
No,
older than
I'm
you.
about
He
half.
had
Like when we talking about 30
I
to
got you.
40,
I got you.
Jeremy,
yeah.
you 34?
Yeah, I'll be 34 this year.
Damn, I didn't realize I was older than you. That's crazy.
Yeah.
OG Keith.
Facts.
Versus old head rail.
Yeah.
OG Keith older than old head, real. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So for me, by 40, I think that by 40, obviously I want to be married. I think that is one in the way and a plus one. Um, that's kind of like one of those things. And I think that as you get older, like being able to actually family plan is a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Beautiful.
like having a plan behind exactly what you're doing is like a really beautiful thing. So
Mm-hmm.
so I have that piece. I think that you hit on the word rental property. I think that right now because like most of these plans are going to like encompass a week.
Mm-hmm.
I think within like say 3 years, like we're looking at three or yeah, it's three rental properties plus a home that we staying in. And
Wow.
then by 40, what would that put me at? Well, that's pretty much by 40. Um, I also want to have a business on the side, which eventually, hopefully, I can have replace my current income.
Fire.
And that's something that I'm really, really intentional about, like within this next year and a half, 2 years time span of like really getting into learning and digesting and learning how to take the steps to actually do that.
Mm-hmm.
But by 40, self sufficiency is good. But if not, there's still like, if I don't reach that specifically and I still got to work also, there, like I said, I think that having multiple streams of income in a realistic way,
Mm-hmm.
in which like for me, what I love about real estate is that you build in equity while making a cash profit. You
Facts.
can cash flow plus gain interest on the back end, pretty
Mm-hmm.
much. And so for me, that's a really, really, really big, important little piece of the pie. Is there another thing? I think like for me, those are like the main goals. Is that I'm most comfortable each year that I'm taking a step going towards those things.
It's beautiful.
Building strong family. And yeah,
That's beautiful.
Johnny.
And I told y'all mine.
You was doing this. I didn't know what that meant.
Now I'm talking to Key. I'm talking birthday boy, but I don't know if we got anything. Tone, what
Oh
you
yeah, I was
got?
about to say
Yeah.
40,
Let's
40,
get Tone before we go.
40. I definitely want to be profitable. Like, well, not even profitable. I'm already profitable within my own business, but I want to be financially stable within my own business. Like a very stable income. I actually want to have. I don't want to say I want to have multiple businesses, but I want to have multiple businesses that I'm helping out. I like that's kind of the direction that I'm going now within things, and it's been going pretty good. So like, just that's one of the things I'm most excited about. So I want to help as many people as I can. Like, I want to have good family relationship. I'm not going into my details about that, but there's still some things I got to deal with within my family, like that aren't in the place where I would like them to be right now. But I would definitely say those are. It's not too much I want in this world. Like I want to be financially stable. I want to enjoy the people that I love. And other than that, like the house, if that comes, however that comes, like that's not even a big deal to me because I really want to travel. Like I would probably be more somebody who wants an RV than an actual house. I wouldn't even mind having rental properties, like for somebody else to rent out. Like, but I really want to travel and just enjoy myself, enjoy life. Yeah, like be with somebody I love and enjoy that. And that's that's 40 for me.
No, that's
dope.
That's one of them big things right there. In which I think we take for granted just being with somebody that you love and like enjoying time frames with. I think that's one of those things that can't be quantified with money.
Or not just with money. Ain't nothing you do on no computer gonna match that neither. Ain't no AI,
Oh yeah.
ain't nothing like none of this internet shit is gonna ever like replicate real women.
Yeah, this is a good show, fellas. Like
For sure. I enjoyed it.
Hey,
It was turbulence. I wasn't cutting you off. I was just like getting like.
Hey, you say I land the plane, nigga. We ain't done.
I've been waiting to do this shit. I'm waiting on y'all. Y'all trying to tell me to land the plane.
No.
I've been,
I was just saying,
I've been waiting.
I was the co-pilot.
And honestly, all I was waiting for was a little clearance. All I was waiting for was a little clearance. And
My boy.
I'm going to go ahead and land the plane. I want to tell everybody, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button.
Yes.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. What else we on? Threads.
Exactly.
And YouTube. This was episode 5, season 3, the To Be Fair show
from the foe.
Oh, this was actually like an important episode because we did like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, we did.
But go ahead.
There we go. And I'm your host, Johnny P. They may call me the one. they may call me. They may call me the one.
He referred to that trans conversation earlier.
Hey, time out. I'm your host, Johnny P.
Over here, real.
It's cute.
And we out.
We out.
We out.